Hello and welcome to Kitze episode 45. Today is Friday, 15th of March and it's 3:35. I'm 5 minutes late, so you get to listen to an episode that's exactly 25 minutes and hopefully I'm not going to rush towards the end. I'm going to try. In this podcast, I'm talking about my personal self-development journey, trying to make it in life, whatever that means. We're going to discuss productivity, habits, startups. If that's your cup of tea, walk with me, put on your headphones, put on your shoes and go for a walk. You'll thank yourself later. You don't have to do any crazy fitness regime. If you're new here, is that a second fucking day in a podcast when I mention the word regime? Like, your boy's French now. I'm gonna grow a mustache, have a pipe, come with a baguette, and just talk about pastries for the entire stream. Regime. If you're new here, my name is Kitze. I'm the founder of Sizzy, browser for developers, Benji, the Life OS, and Zero to Ship, the course that will help you finally ship your SaaS. Don't forget to send me questions in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. I'm not sure if this week I mentioned conferences I'm going to. I think something new popped up. No, I'm going to 3 new meetups. So I'm going to go to drown in the middle of sentence. I'm going to drown in the middle of a sentence. I'm going to Congress JS in Gdańsk on May 7th, I think. Then I'm going to Congress JS, same organizers in Poznan, just because I don't know what's wrong with me. I want to drive for some fucking reason. So it's a 3-hour drive. And maybe Zico will visit he will be staying at my place, so maybe we'll do a little road trip vlog, whatever. So that's on 9th of May. And then another one called Coco Heads in Gdańsk for people who do iOS development. Like, I have nothing, like I made an iOS app, but I did it with React Native. So I have nothing to do with Coco, Swift UI, UI Kit, or whatever libraries Apple is using for making apps. But I just want to go there just to feel like an intruder. I'm only going to be visiting at the meetup. And just to see, maybe I'll meet interesting people. The guy from 9 to 5 Mac, who's hosting the podcast of 9 to 5 Mac, will be there as a speaker. So maybe it will. I didn't know there are English speaking meetups in my city. So I decided, like, fuck it. Let's have some fun. So I'm going to go to those. If you're going, drop me a comment and maybe I'll see you there. Alrighty. Sleep time and sleep score. I went to sleep actually very early, 10:15, maybe 10:30 p.m. But my daughter was babbling. She had a podcast. She's starting to say more things. Like, she's not saying words. She's just making all sorts of different sounds. Today, she started saying something that resembles ta 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 ta. But that's because my mother-in-law, she's been forcing her, because she started saying, like, she's making the sound mama, mama, mama all the time. And my mother-in-law just trying to balance things in the universe. She's Thanos, basically. Thanos, my mother-in-law. She's like, been like, literally, I go upstairs and all I hear is like her telling her, like, tata, 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 you gotta say tata. Well, why is she working downstairs all day? Tata, tata, tata. So my wife sent me a clip today of my daughter trying, just babbling some words. That's something that sounded. She's like, look at it, she said tata. And I'm like, no, she fucking didn't. Because Tata is recording a podcast downstairs. But that little baby, like, she loves me so much, dude. Like, when she just sees me from afar, she starts cackling. She starts laughing so much. Like, I'm the most hilarious. I am the most hilarious creature on earth. Like, let's be fucking honest, right? But to my daughter, like, that's so precious when she sees me from afar. And, like, if I go close and if I grab her, she starts doing, she starts being like, there's just resistance. Like, let me go. But if I just put her on the couch, it just starts slowly going away and just slowly go towards her. She's just laughing her ass off. It's so hilarious to her. And dude, there's nothing more precious than having a kid and her smile. And like, as she grows up, we're gonna be best buddies. And that's the point of life. That's it. I figured it out. Like, all of everything else, dude, is crap. Like, filling the day with whatever routines, cold plunges, saunas, working out, like all of that. Like, for what? Like, what is the fucking point? There's no fucking end goal. But this is the point of life. Like, I love her. I love her the most. Yesterday, we took her for a walk with the stroller. So just around the block, she was like, no, I don't want this. And then I put her in the carrier. So I carried her around for probably an hour. She loved it. I think this kid is going to have, like, my genes, because either she's entertained, I hope she won't have ADHD or AD4K. But unless she's super entertained, she's not. She's like, nah, like, make it super entertaining. I don't care. So we start walking her with my wife. She starts looking at people and other kids, and she just goes like, like, she starts laughing, dude, the Joker. Fuck's sake. But anyway, she's amazing. I love her so much. We gave her a second day of solid foods yesterday. I still can't believe it. Like, we're eating lunch and I turned to the left, and that little baby is taking like a spoon, trying to do something. It's like, life is really crazy. Anyway, let's just share the screen for a while. I've been sticking to my schedule. That's fine, except I didn't have this meeting with Twinkle from Athena. We were supposed to have like a review, like, why don't I want to choose the assistant? Because they sent me a new assistant. As I mentioned, his name is Riz, and I didn't want to accept him because he seemed too young and inexperienced, like just age-wise, he seemed like very young. And even though he was wearing a tuxedo and a tie and everything, I'm like, that's not going to work. The resume seemed very ChatGPT-ish. The script when he was talking to video seems like they were holding him hostage, like to say all of these things. And I just didn't want to accept that assistant. So today I was supposed to have a call with them to see what's wrong, like what am I looking for in an assistant, blah blah blah. And I'm just at this point, I'm so exhausted. This is what happened last time with Upwork, by the way. I had the same energy of like, I need to delegate everything in my life. And then, slowly you just start delegating things, and this is not done right, or that's not done right. Or in this case, the assistant quits because of personal reasons, like a horrible thing happened in his life, and then they give you a new one, and it's temporary. And it's like, it's getting so exhausting to a point where last time I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll do everything by myself. But now I have so many things on my plate, and my day is like way too short to be like, fuck it, I'll do everything by myself. So I'm not gonna do that. Like yesterday, I sat down and I cut the stream short yesterday, and I spent some time on writing basically things that I wrote for MJ. I just structured them a little bit better. We call them SOPs, so there's like standard operating procedures for doing certain things. So I'm going to let me see if I can actually show you how do they look like. Adding a blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, I can show you this. Why not? So this is what this is some of the procedures that I wrote, like uploading podcast video to YouTube. So this is like a detailed thing: exporting podcast video for YouTube, making a thumbnail, uploading podcast to Transistor, transcribing podcast, extracting bullet points, adding a new alias to an email. This is for me. Refunding payments for people, importing currency conversion, enhancing video and audio, adding podcast intro to MP3 file, paying Pete and VAT. These are like some taxes thingies, paying the accountant, importing bank transactions, and there's some personal ones which are not done by anyone right now. I'm still doing them by myself. MJ started doing some of these, but then, now I'm picking them up by myself because I'm really in this middle, spot with like having a temp, but not sure what to delegate and what not to delegate. And for the podcast procedure, I wrote this, that I'm going to hopefully, well, that was my plan. When this finishes right now, like I converted the file from video to MP3 and I just attach it to Coda. And then the assistant the next day does the things like enhances the audio, adds the podcast intro, transcribe the podcast, extracts bullet points, and then he uploads the podcast to Transistor. And then at some point of my day, which I don't have defined, I'm supposed to do making a thumbnail, exporting the podcast for YouTube, and uploading the podcast video to YouTube. So the problem with this is like I delegated this, but I cannot delegate the video part because it takes too slow to upload the video for some reason. Like it's gonna be too, we tried last time with MJ and like he couldn't get it on time and yada yada yada. So now anyway, I need to get a faster speed internet. Basically, I need to get optic fiber internet to be able to do more, easily video transfer back and forth. The video editor that I contacted yesterday, radio silence, nothing from him. So we'll see what's gonna happen there. So anyway, back to the point about this. I'm going to do everything on my own. I tried to clarify a bunch of SOPs. I asked the temp if he's fine with, all the SOPs that I wrote. He said that he is fine. He actually did his part today, but I keep seeing this pattern in my life. If something is not strictly planned, like where does it happen? It's not going to happen. As you can see, I started doing the podcast every day. Started doing the streams. Sorry. So before I was like, when do I do a stream? Blah, blah, blah. I put it on the planner every day at 8 a.m. For 2 hours, like 2 Pomodoros and a little bit more. Just like I let the Pomodoros run for more than 45 minutes. I'm doing a stream. 10 a.m. the alarm rings. I was in the middle of the task. I told the viewers, like, oopsie daisy, your boys got to go have breakfast. Then I go have breakfast for 30 minutes. That's the plan. And I've been sticking to it. The problem is after I finish with breakfast, I think that breakfast takes too long here. I don't know why I'm taking this long because I'm taking my laptop or my iPad and I'm watching recently I got into watching tutorials. So I'm learning shit about React Native, learning shit about Expo, exploring Tailwind, which doesn't seem bad. Maybe I'll switch a bunch of things to it. We'll see what's going to happen. And let's not talk about it now. But first of all, this is too long. It should be 15 minutes because I gotta micro optimize every byte, right? But after this, like I need to have something here that's like, what do I do after the breakfast? So I made a little routine. It's not in the thing yet, called starting work block, where the first thing that I do is I drag the MP3 file for the podcast and make sure that the podcast stuff is ready. And then I need another schedule block, like in between the temp does his things. And then I need another schedule block, like when do I actually upload to YouTube and blah, blah, blah. So even if this is like 5, 10, 15 minutes work, unless it's scheduled somewhere, it's not going to magically happen. So today I was like 5 minutes late with the podcast because, when I come out of the shower, like I need to dry and everything for like ten minutes. So what I do is I go on the computer and I see which things can I check in Benji and which things, and I was like, oh fuck, I didn't upload the podcast. So I feel chaotic when I'm just randomly picking up things instead of them being part of some routine and some plan. So these parts that you see here, I'm like it's been like what, day 5 or something, day 6 of just me respecting this routine and not moving away from it. So I'm gonna try to do this more like at night, when it's like it gets to like 7 something p.m., like it's very like up in the air when I'm going to start doing things and when am I gonna go walk the dog and am I going to walk the dog, and if it's too late and my daughter comes from my daughter comes from upstairs. Yeah, the baby just levitates from upstairs. My wife comes from upstairs with the baby and she's like, let's do something, and I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't walk the dog. And then every day is just like uncertainty. So just every day just full of uncertainty. I mean, the nights are now full of uncertainty, which I don't like. Like to some of you, this might seem ridiculous, and I completely get that. I'm not making this podcast to teach you how you should do things, but for me, having an unstructured day, like it's absolutely impossible to navigate an unstructured day. I don't know how I'll deal with the fact that when the baby grows up, like life is gonna become more unstructured, like more things are gonna pop up, like going to the doctor, or doing this or doing that, or taking her here and taking her there, but I don't want to turn her into a robot, I don't want to turn her into now packing lunch for school, and now I need to brush my teeth for 2 minutes because daddy said so. I'm going to run away with a cowboy when I'm 16 because a structured life is killing me. That's what's going to happen in the end, Like I'm afraid that too much structure will be bad. So I will eventually have to learn to live with some chaotic parts of my day, but I would still like to have some points where like, here's where we do this, here's where we do this, here's where we do this, and stick to them. So I had more points there, but your boy goes on tangents, on tangents, on tangents. So now I'm going to open my daily checklist again. Let's finish this actually. Fasting has been going fine. Hydration, as you can see, I'm done with 3 liters of hydration, even though it's like 3 p.m. Weight, I measure my weight, but the stupid smart scale is not integrated with this thing, and it's very freaking annoying every day. I think I gained a little bit of weight, but day-to-day measurements don't matter that much. When you're gaining weight, day-to-day measurements don't matter that much. When you're losing weight, you're just like, oh my god, I just lost 200 grams. It's fucking amazing. So it's 93.8. Oopsie daisy. One point that I have about my weight, maybe, even though it's like very healthy, I shouldn't eat that entire pint of ice cream, because I told my wife the next batch she's going to do, like to fill those like the Ninja Creamy cups, they're like this big, and I told her like, if you fill it that big and you don't eat the ice cream because it has protein and a bunch of shit in it, I'm not going to go and wait on the machine and you sit in the garage, because we moved it to the garage, and just sit there, contemplating life for like a minute while the machine doing zzz, to eat half of it, all of that effort. No fucking way, dude. If you refreeze it, then it doesn't taste good. So I told her, just make it half. So I eat half of that thing. And yesterday I had the strawberry banana nuts one, and I put like dried cranberries. Dude, buy store-bought ice cream. It is fucking amazing. I absolutely love it. So maybe that contributed to my weight, but we will see. Also, I'm gaining muscle because I started working out more regularly, started eating more protein. So I don't want to, micromanage it that much. I feel good. I feel great. The cold showers, the sauna, the workout every fucking day. Today I played basketball for like 30, 40 minutes. So I went for like a 5-minute run to the basketball place. Absolutely out of breath, absolutely out of shape for cardio things. Like I barely did a 5-minute run. I can't believe I'm the guy who at some point ran 21 kilometers. Like didn't hurt that much. Then I played basketball for like 30-ish minutes, and then I just walked back home for like 10 minutes. So all in all, it was like 50 something minutes of working out. I didn't feel like, I felt like, this is the reason why I cannot work out by myself, because when I work out without a trainer, even though like this is, I'm not sure, I showed you the workout from yesterday, it doesn't matter. I was doing chest and a bunch of shit. If I still don't do the things right, and I overexert myself, and I like do certain things that, it was not completely my daughter's fault that I woke up, not feeling rested, even though I slept more than 7 hours today. Just when I have shoulder pain and I have a lot of like here in front of the chest, like connected to the shoulder, and like here up in the neck, I have like so much pain that when I feel that pain, I don't feel like properly rested. Like I can feel like I'm 80% asleep at night, and I'm like 20% like half awake, just focused on all of this pain. It's like painful to sleep with this much pain. So I need a trainer, because when I was working out with a trainer, we were lifting heavy, but he was balancing the right shit, to give me push and pull and blah, blah, blah. And I honestly, like so many years in the gym, but I never learned to bother enough to do the right things. And in between sets, he would be like, now take the band and do the thingy. And I don't do that. Like in between sets, I just log my habits on Benji or whatever. So I definitely like we will see next week. No matter how I feel on some days, I'm like I can work out on my own. Because yesterday I was working out chest and I'm like, what else do I do except bench press and push-ups? Because I don't have all the gym equipment at home. And then I asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT was like, you can do dumbbell flies, and I did that. But other than those like 3-4 exercises, I cannot come up with shit, especially at home. So I need someone to help me a little bit, at least for a while. So we will see. Meals, as I said, everything's been going fine except these large pins of ice cream. Actually, I only had it yesterday. The day before that, I had half of it, rice and chicken. So you can see all of the meal here. Like everything has been great. Frogs are back, dude. In my life, fucking killed me. This movement outside of my window just reminded me that I've been dealing last year. We moved into this house. Like you don't know what you're gonna deal with. Like when I moved around furniture in this office. Like I found like a squashed dead frog, and I'm like, oh, holy fucking shit. So I asked my dad to like he ordered some super meshed nets. I don't know how to explain it. Like they're very tight, so nothing can come in. Because he was like, oh, don't worry, it's not like frogs are gonna hop in. And then I saw the dead frog in the office, and I'm like, yes. I sent him a picture. I'm like, yes, they might enter the fucking house, dude, and I might fucking freak out, because they're so fucking slimy and disgusting. So I don't know if I mentioned this on a podcast, but it was driving me crazy last summer. Basically, when we moved here, like first time I was just doing something in my office, and I saw like a baby frog outside of my window sill. Like here, there's like a thingy, and I was trying to observe it because there was a little bug going towards it. I'm like, holy shit, the frog is going to eat the thing. And while my eyes are focused on a goddamn fucking frog, like another big one just jumps here on the window, and I freaked out, dude. I made a little contraption, so I took a little like a thing that you use for mopping, and then the container part of it, like I extended it to a metal rod just so I can come from upstairs, because there's no way to pick up these frogs from up there. So once per day probably, like I would feel sorry for these stupid fucking frogs just going on the window. Like they would just sit there and look at me. First of all, they would just do the thing, and I would be like, oh fuck. Like that Dwight gif with Angela. So I'll be like, oh fuck, what do you, and eventually I'll feel sad because they're gonna die here. There's nothing, I don't know where the fuck they come from. We even put a net on the top, a net on the bottom, and these fuckers still appear. I don't know how. So after my workday or during my workday, I would take a break, and I should maybe add it as a feature in Benji. Catching frogs, for fuck's sake. How many? Let's say I have a leaderboard. How many have you caught today? So I would go from upstairs, open the thing, grab a couple of frogs, put them in the thing, carry them away, and then just throw them in the yard next door. Just throw them a little bit further. Probably it's the same frogs that came back. They're like, no, we want to watch you code. We're not gonna go away. But yesterday, like with my wife, we just come home and I see, like, she's like, oh my God, there's a frog on the door. And I'm like, holy shit, where did the year go, dude? Like, it's gonna be almost 1 year since we moved to this place. It's fucking crazy, bro. Time is going like fucking crazy. Anyway, Pomodoros. I'm starting a Pomodoro now because I've been bitching about how little I work and I don't work enough hours. But this is without, like, the podcast is kind of work. Like, if I prepare for 15 minutes and then record for like 45 minutes, that's like an hour of work. And I think my alarms that I set the alarm for 4 o'clock, but that might be too late. So I gotta set the alarm to be at 15:59, just so it warns me 1 minute before. Otherwise, a lot of times I might start talking and forget to turn off the podcast. Dude, as soon as I restricted a podcast to 25-30 minutes, I have more shit to talk about. It's so fucking annoying. So Pomodoro's working has been going great. Has it been going great? Because as I mentioned yesterday, I was, just went into doing Raycast, Benji, random stuff. I cannot like focus on the important, like I can do the coding part in the stream, but then when I come back, like I get very chaotic. Zoom and email, and I'll do this and I'll think of something. Like today, I wanted to go and clear all of my emails and start replying to people and basically figure out which are the important emails. Because the workload that I have in Missive, there's a thing called Team Inbox where all the emails go. And that's where we had with MJ. Like I would assign one to him and he would assign one to me, and then mine would be assigned to me. So what I would do and what I did today is, first of all, it's a miracle I started opening my email inbox. So something is definitely changing. That's good. I'm going to become a normal person who checks their email one fucking day, right? So I go through the team inboxes and I delete a bunch of rubbish, and then I assign the rest of them to assign to me. And then I look at my assigned to me and I just see fucking 67 emails. And I'm like, how do I prioritize which ones are the important ones? So then I go and put a fork in my life. Like I just fork and I'm like, let me explore how easy it is to make an email app. And I'm like, no, you don't. Don't do it. Close the tab. And I'm like, but Benji is a LifeOS. A LifeOS should have email handling. And eventually, Benji is going to have that 100% because I'm so frustrated. There hasn't been enough innovation in email clients outside of hey.com. But I cannot use hey.com because I use a bunch of Gmail emails. So I'm using Missive right now, and perfect timing, dude. For Missive, they email me that the pricing is going up, and I'm like, this is just the universe telling me, to fucking do it. But thankfully I didn't do it. What I did is, I cannot show you my inbox right now, but I had an extension for Missive for Benji that basically, as I'm browsing my emails, like on the side, I can quickly add an email as a to-do in Benji. So what I did is I also added a switch to be able to switch whether it's a work task or it's a personal task. And also I added a new feature in Benji for showing emojis next to to-do. So if, for example, if it has the email emoji, like you're going to see it in your to-do list. So, and also added another functionality for every to-do can now have a link to something, link to research, link to whatever. So what I did in this integration is I'm going through my emails, and one by one, I just choose whether it's personal or work, and I click on add email as a to-do, and then maybe I give it a title, like instead of the subject, I give it a better title, like CZ customer wants refund or whatever. I realized that not the temp, but the next assistant should actually do this. And then I moved, like I clear my inbox, like I have 15 emails left, but my computer locked me out. So I went through my inbox, and now when they're as tasks in Benji, first of all of them have like an email emoji, knowing when I go to my inbox and I see my inbox in Benji, I can be like, okay, these are a bunch of emails that I need to handle. Second of all, I can switch between personal and work, so I can just ignore the personal emails and keep them for after work, and I can focus on my work inbox, which has 32 emails right now, and I can classify them. I cannot show you right now because I have a bunch of, I don't want to leak people's emails here. And the nice thing is all of them are tagged with the tag email. All of them have the emoji for email, and all of them, like, can easily click a link, which will open like a pop-up window with the email. So it's like as close to having my own email client, this new workflow in Benji that I have. Like, at least now I see everything in Benji, and what I can do is tag them by customer wants refund. And if it's a refund, like, it will shoot higher in the list. So if it's I need to pay an employee or someone, whatever, it will shoot higher in the list. And then when I work on my email, I can just go top to bottom, and an email is basically part of my other tasks, because just going to pursue and clean your inbox every day is pointless, because if I go and answer 50 emails, like 20 of them are some feature requests or whatever, it's a waste of my time. So I want to, every email should be converted to a to-do, and I don't want to see, like, I will achieve inbox 0 every day, but doesn't mean I will reply to all of the emails every day. The important ones, I want to have maybe half a, like, not a full Pomodoro, but maybe like 15 minutes of answering the top 5 emails in the day, let's say. Like, I will keep it as a top 5, just not to get overwhelmed by 50 emails, and we'll see how that will go. So I was working on that. Now, did I do the important emails? Yes, actually, I replied to React India, I replied to the conference in Berlin, I replied to the conference in Pula, which is gonna be like, the one that I'm mentioning in an ancient theater or whatever. It looks fucking amazing. I hope that I'll vlog all of that. And yeah, I guess I didn't get to, maybe for the habits and the other things in Benji, we can do like a weekly review. That would be better. But a daily review keeps me more accountable. And I'm really trying to do as many habits as possible just to show you during the podcast, like, hey, look, I'm doing more. But we're going to do the habit review because we can do that in every, at whatever point. I just want to see if there's some other things that I wanted to talk about. I blocked the iPad finally yesterday with my wife, because I think I'm finally feeling the snowball effect of this, doing, 1 more minute left, okay, doing, the cold showers and the sauna and the workouts like every day. I feel like my mind is more clear. I started keeping my space more clear, and yesterday I helped my wife just clean up some things in the kitchen because I wanted to see it clean. And when she come down with the baby, she's like, do you want to watch something? And I'm like, it's time to review our projects in life, and it's time to review a bunch of things. So we actually dedicated 15-20 minutes to planning, which is a miracle. Hopefully things will get better from here. Thank you for watching. Go do the homework in the description, and I'll see ya in the next one. Ya donuts.